This is Montego Bradley from Fans of Patrol, and you're listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, you are listening to Superhero Speak, and I'm your host Dave.
And I'm tired. John. I am tired of John. No, I am John. There you go.
Jeez, how can you be tired? We're actually starting early tonight.
Because I was at my I was at my family's up in Connecticut all weekend for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
Uh-huh.
And I dealt with my nephews for 3 days straight.
How old are they?
5, 10, and 12.
Ah, wonderful ages. And if people may have noticed that JD is not here this week. John finally killed. No.
Well, they did notice now. I mean,
actually, JD is, as he kind of alluded to last week, he is in the middle of a wrestling tournament this week, so he is unavailable, and we wish him well and his team well, and I'm sure he will be back next week when we have lots of things to talk about from San Diego.
Yeah, break a leg, JD. Oh, I'm sorry, that's show business. Don't break a leg, JD.
Yeah, you don't tell an athlete to break a leg.
Yeah, I just realized that. Okay.
So besides your wonderful time with your nephews, you do anything fun the past week?
No, that was literally my entire weekend. It's like, Thursday through Sunday was traveling up to Connecticut, taking my life into my own hands on the Jersey Turnpike, and then I really love the Jersey Turnpike because you drive there and you're like, oh my God, people are passing me. I better speed up. What am I going? I'm going 85. Oh, okay. And that guy just passed me like I was standing still. The cops don't take notice unless you hit triple digits. It's just, it's crazy. But I did. We're in like a new season for anime, and the reason why I told you that I was kind of disappointed that JD wasn't here was because I know how much he loves some of the titles of these animes, and I just started a new one that's called, and I kid you not, it is called "If It's Not for My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord." Like, I'm waiting for one of these titles to just be the synopsis of the entire anime. But yeah, that's a good one. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? That's a good one. And this one, which is really wordy, Dr. Stone.
Oh, wow. That's a long one.
I know. I almost didn't watch it because of the title. Some good ones are coming out now, although that is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? That's been out for over a season. It just finally found it. Otherwise, no. There's like nothing really interesting to talk about. I mean, we're in a post Game of Thrones world, man. Like it's all boring now.
It's post Game of Thrones, post Infinity War Endgame and Far From Home and waiting for Comic-Con. So there's like not a lot of news either to talk about.
Yeah, not until San Diego, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's coming up. Starting to see a lot of videos about that, but we'll see what goes on there.
Yes. Yeah. As for me, I had my uncle's wedding, so it was my. This is one of those weird, complicated family relationship things. So my Aunt Karen, my mother's sister, married him when I was 5, I believe I was, when they got married. And then she passed away probably about 5 years ago. And maybe 6 years ago. And then he started, but he was still obviously part of our family, would see him all the time. And then he was going to grief counseling and met this woman, Michelle, whose brother had passed away. So they met in grief counseling and then, fell in love, and now they got married.
Why didn't I think of that? I've been spending all this time on personal sites. I mean, with grief counseling, that's where you pick up women.
Yes. What are you grieving?
That I don't have a woman.
Oh, okay.
It's very simple.
Sounds like a plan. Let me know.
Congratulations to your uncle.
Yes, my Uncle Ked. So congratulations, Ked and Michelle, and I hope they have many years together. It's interesting to see people, in the, as they say, the autumn of their life, finding each other and getting married.
I know you're talking about me, but
I was going to say, it gives me hope for you, John.
Yeah. Ha ha ha. I'm like late spring, okay? No, late summer. Late summer. Definitely.
Late summer.
Yeah. Okay.
So, speaking of friends and family, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, social media madness.
It's really not their favorite. I mean, it just really isn't, dude. I don't think you're using those words right.
We had, so it's funny because I retweet things out, obviously, to promote the show. We talked about, Ezra Miller, still saying he's going to make a Flash movie. And, then they said they did find a director for it. So, I had, tweeted out about there being a film in 2022. And I was shocked at the number of responses off of this tweet that we got. So, Geek Show Joe said, with the Flash being my favorite superhero, I've been waiting longer than most, but at this point, I'm not going to believe it till I see it on screen.
Nice screen name, by the way. Would mean something completely different 100 years ago. Usually at a carny. But go ahead.
Mr. Max said, I'd rather have a Flash who's goofy but not afraid. Yeah, that's true. He did play him. He did play him like a scaredy cat.
Yeah, yeah. And Barry was more courageous than that, I would say.
Yeah. Well, he sacrifices himself to save the the entire universe.
Yeah, but even starting out, he was he was loving that he could go that speed. It wasn't, oh my God, I better not use it.
Right. Johnny the Machine Hughes said, I could live without it, to be honest. Now here's the interesting one. That this is the real reason I brought this thread up. Galactic Netcasts said, I don't know about others on our network, but I'm starting to feel kind of burnt out on the superhero movies and TV shows.
It only took 10 years, huh?
Yeah. To which I asked, do you think the end is near? And they replied, probably not. I feel like there's enough not so popular superheroes that can tap into and keep the storylines interesting. So it's not just another Batman movie, in quotes, or Superman, etc. Like what they've done with Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. But I think things may slow down a bit.
See, now, is he saying that he's tired, when we're talking about DC movies, is he saying we're tired of DC movies? Because I'm certainly tired of the DC movies. Like, I have no compunction whatsoever to go and see any kind of Flash movie at this point. I don't It's like Venom, you know? It's like, it came out and I'm like, if I was completely bored on a Sunday afternoon, but otherwise I'll wait for it to come out for free on demand.
Yeah, I mean,
but if Marvel puts something out, I'm going to be there like the first day it opens.
I think,
and even, go ahead.
I think the problem is that the DC movies tried something, you know, they tried the super dark tone that just didn't work, but they kept trying it for 4 or 5 movies before it was finally like, all right, enough's enough, you know?
Well, you know what they say, if you try something and it doesn't work, keep doing the same thing and piss everybody off.
No, that's not what they say.
Oh, well, apparently that's like probably in a poster hanging up on the executive's wall right next to the cat hanging out.
Mike Oliver asked, how can you bring him back but not Henry Cavill? And Just Mike, who's at Irish Mike 076, F. Ezra, move on. Give us a new movie ASAP. DC sucks at this. They really need to get better people in the movie area. Mysterio. Yes, we had Mysterio answer. Am I the only one who still wants this because they think Ezra has a chance at being amazing? So he's got a vote of confidence from Mysterio. Vince Ross said, I'm excited, but let's wait till 2030-2070.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sorry, I zoned out there for a minute.
Andrew Dite said, why do Warner Brothers DC feel they need a movie? Grant Gustin's TV Flash is great. Leave it at that.
Exactly. And that's the problem. Like, if we've got a good Flash, and again, like, okay, DC movies I could leave. But, the DC TV series on CW, I'm still excited to watch them. Maybe not so much Arrow anymore, but they're ending it and before it gets really bad, I think. And you know, they're doing well. So that's something I want to watch. They just like soured you completely on the movies.
Yeah. No, I agree totally. All right, moving on. We had talked about, of course,
maybe if they made them dark. Darker? Yes.
No.
I mean, obviously, if this isn't working, they just got to go full bore, right?
Just have Superman knock people down with his heat ray vision.
Yeah, that's it. Just have him kill people left and right.
Yeah, I think they did that. It's called Brightburn.
Oh, yeah. And how did it do in the box office?
It did well enough that it warranted a sequel that they're starting to talk about.
Oh my God. So they get a sequel, but DC, oh my God.
So we had talked about, a movie last week. I believe it's called Far From Home. And, we had talked about how we liked the characterization of Mysterio in the movie.
Yeah. It was good. Go ahead.
Alvis Gardy. Yes.
Elvis! No, sorry.
They were like a comic book. Oh, talking about the fight scenes. They were like a comic book splash page come to life.
Yeah.
Amish Baby Machine Pop Culture podcast.
Well, somebody couldn't make up their minds. Okay.
Really dumb. Dude's got no superpowers. Just a glorified magician. The elementals were weak too. Let's try to redo the Green Goblin and make him look like he was supposed to in the comics. Whew. There are some butthurt fanboys out there, even when they're given something good.
Well, I mean, it's their prerogative to not like it, and yeah, it is changed. I mean, the Marvel universe is diverging quite a lot from the comics now in some ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, what they're doing is working. I mean, Far From Home did amazingly well. So,
before I forget, an update on the chase for the number 1 spot of all-time movies. Endgame is currently 7.2 million away from the all-time record.
Okay, all we need is like one rich person to go out and have a party.
Yes.
It's all we're like Bill Gates' pocket change away from getting this
right
first place.
Come on, Bill. We know you listen to this podcast, and we know you're a big nerd. So come on.
No, he's not a nerd. He's a businessman. But Bill, this would give you your street cred back. We still remember what you did to Novell in the 90s, and to OS2 Warp, and to BOS. We remember that. So you do this, we might forgive some of that, okay? To Java and all the other lawsuits. And Sun, damn it. Sorry. I really don't like Microsoft.
He wants to use all his fortune to help the needy now. What is better than taking a bunch of needy children to the movies to see Endgame?
Well, he could use all that money to do a good DC movie, and if you want to help the needy. That would help twice. It would help Warner Brothers, and it would help us. And by us, I mean specifically me, since I'm the DC apologist.
Yes. Also, we had Purple Tree chime in. I loved them. I think they were confusing in the mind-effery way that is appropriate for the character. I could see what was happening clearly. It is simply visually complex and gorgeously rendered. There are a lot to motivate a rewatch again in the right way. Perfect chef's kiss. Oh, mwah. That's what he meant when he said chef's kiss.
Uh-huh.
And then one of our favorite contributors we haven't heard from in a while, Rob Foster, said, well, the main stars of the movie Zodiac have now all portrayed someone in the MCU. I actually liked Mysterio as a hero. He wasn't as impressive as a villain for a follow-up Spider-Man vehicle, not really Ultron. Not exactly Ultron. Okay, I see what he's saying. You got a really great Vulture in the first one, and he didn't feel that he was a strong enough villain. I don't know.
I'll give him that. I mean, it was a good portrayal, but that's all Mysterio ever was. Once you pulled the curtain from him, mm-hmm. he became this sniveling, nothing.
Right.
He's literally a showman. He's all bluster. Right. The problem was that you had to discern reality from fantasy that he was creating, and that's the real horror of it, right? Mm-hmm. Even if he doesn't seem like that much of a presence, not like Vulture was, it's still the fact that at some point you have to question, is this really happening? And that's scary to people.
Exactly. Like
they could have used that a lot more.
Yeah, but it's hard with so much story that they crammed into that movie, It's
true.
It's the goodbye to Tony. It's the introducing what was the name? Enid. And,
yeah. Yep.
Edith. That's it. Yeah. Even in death, I'm the hero. And, and then the Mysterio. I mean, it was and then the idea of the Skrulls, hiding in plain sight.
Right. I mean, the thing is that if they want to do a really, really good Mysterio story, they would have him play the long game. They would have a story that would lead up to one point near the end where you would suddenly question whether anything you saw in the rest of the movie was real.
Right.
They'd pull a Shyamalan, not late Shyamalan, early to mid Shyamalan.
Shyamalama Ding Dong. Oh, yes.
Yeah, basically. Pre-happening Shyamalan.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they tried to give this twist at the end with the after credits scene. Oh, by the way, we got yelled at for revealing that J. Jonah Jameson was in the movie.
We said spoilers, right?
No, Not in the episode, in a tweet, but the tweet obviously came out after the episode, which means the movie had been out for over a week at that point.
I know, but okay, I get that. Whoever was offended by that, I apologize. Dave doesn't though. He doesn't care for your tears. No. But I get it. There's actually been some chatter about that in social media lately. Like, how long do you wait before spoilers are fair game? But I think a week's too early.
I saw the fact that he was in the movie on social media before I went and saw the movie. So it was
I know, but that doesn't mean we have to be dicks about it too.
What I'm saying is that it was already spoiled in a lot of places. There was news articles about it. You know?
Right, but it depends on whether people trust us or not, which they really shouldn't.
No,
but we can keep secrets for we can say, like, you know, maybe 2-3 weeks before we reveal anything in our social media. You know, in our podcast, that's a whole different ballgame. But
yeah, that's true. And then finally, we had
by the way, Darth Vader is his father. Okay, go ahead.
Luke's father.
Sure.
And Leia's father.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and Leia and Luke are brother and sister.
And Yoda's cousin. But anyway. And in the final little bit of social media madness, we had talked about, of course, the Joker, and they came out and said that they're not following the comics for the movie, and
like they were before.
And then Vince Ross said, "Sure, I don't know if the movie will be good, but they've made a hell of a trailer. Maybe the best trailer I've ever seen." So
I'll give him that. The trailer is creepy as freaking hell.
So we have someone who's going to go see it based on the trailer.
Yeah, I'll go see that one too, just because it doesn't look. I mean, yeah, it might be the Joker without Batman, and we might be looking at just a completely disconnected, stand on its own movie that's based in an alternate reality where, like, there's no Justice League or anything. But if you took out the Joker and you just gave him some other creepy name, this would be a very interesting descent into madness portrayal.
Right. No, I agree with that. And it's just like, you don't need, it looks like they made a good enough movie that you don't have to hide it behind the Joker thing, because it's like, you know, it's not attached to anything in the comics. So I don't know. We'll have to see where they go with it.
Yep.
All right. And speaking of social media, people, you know, on the internet, you make lots of friends. And we have and we have some very good friends in the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. These include our good friends, So Wizard Podcast, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, Fans on Patrol, the Pop Prism Power Podcast, Colt 45. So, you guys should go and check out those other podcasts. Right. And sure, you can check out those podcasts on our new favorite podcast listening app, PodCoin. Yes, PodCoin is the only pod listener that pays you to listen to podcasts. You earn PodCoins for every podcast you listen to, and then you can trade them in for wonderful gifts like gift certificates to Dunkin' Donuts and Amazon and Starbucks, all those wonderful places. Or
you mentioned Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks in the same sentence. Oh boy!
I know Dunkin' Donuts is so much better. And
sorry, I broke your go.
And you can also, if you're not a selfish, greedy bastard like John, you can trade in your PodCoins and donate it towards charity. So check them out today. You can download it for your Android or my brain just went. Android device, your Apple or Android device, and if you sign up today, use the code HeroSpeak and you'll get 300 PodCoins on us. So check it out today. That's PodCoin. All right. And on that message, I think it's time for us to take a little break. And we'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back. Woohoo! We survived the commercial break.
We did? Okay.
Yes. So that means that it's time for the news.
Not much of it.
No, there really isn't. I kind of felt like I was scraping with some of these articles just so we could have something to talk about because the big show is this weekend, so it's all going to be coming out of San Diego.
It's like a black hole of news. Like any news that would be displayed 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after, it's just getting sucked into this one weekend. So like there's really slim pickings right now.
Yes. So let's start with something kind of related to last week's episode. We had talked about who the next possible big villain should be for Spidey. And we kind of said maybe Kraven. That was actually JD's hope. He thought they could work in a good Kraven story.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the creative team behind Far From Home said they are eyeing up Kraven for the next Spider-Man movie. So, what do you think of that choice, John?
I'm sorry. It should be Gog. Everybody knows Gog, right?
No.
Or Sin Eater.
Well, Sin Eater, I know. But, you know, that's related to a whole nother, Spider-Man storyline. Not a great, memorable villain, no.
Maybe the Living Brain. I don't know. I don't know. Kraven.
It should be Big Wheel.
Yeah, Big Wheel. Okay. We like, it's not hard to scrape the bottom of the barrel. There are just so many really, really bad, villains in the rogues galleries. I mean, you could say the same thing for DC for some of those, like even Batman. But, I think Kraven will be good. I mean, it's Marvel. I mean, it's funny to say this, but just, we have faith in them. So I'm pretty sure that, if they do come out with, Kraven, that they're going to do a very good job of it. And if they do his last hunt, I don't know, that would probably, I would like to see somebody like, I don't want throwaway bad guys anymore. I'd like a villain that like sticks around for a while, like Loki did. Because this whole thing of, hi, I'm the biggest bad you've ever seen. Dead. Okay, fine. Dead. Why, we don't need neck snaps and everything to end a villain. We need them caught so that they can come back later, maybe in a team up. Build some Chekhov's guns into this thing, man.
Well, not Raven. That's DC. Vulture's lived, and we know Scorpion's still alive. So come on, you don't. No, what I think.
I doubt they'll use. I don't know. Actually, do you think they could keep the next? Well, who would they need for a Sinister Six? Right? We'd still need Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Who are the major players? Because I mean, Sinister Six, the roster changed, but I mean, if we've got Vulture,
well, it's like
Shocker.
Doc Ock was always kind of the brains behind it, yeah, and then like rotating the line, like you had Sandman was in the Sinister Six, Electro, Rhino at one point, the Vulture, Scorpion. So, yeah, I mean, even Venom was part of the Sinister Six at one point.
Well, maybe we're starting to see like the beginning of a Spider-Verse. I mean, if they keep the next few around, if they keep making these, I don't know. The one problem they've got is Tom Holland himself. I mean, okay, they did great on the makeup and the dress and everything, but he's looking a little bit old for 16 now. they're going to have to pop up. They could have solved that with the 5-year thing, but he got snapped. So,
will you give the man a break? I mean, come on.
Oh no, he's still the best by far. I mean, he's not like who was the last guy? I forget what his name was. Criminy for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He was too old. He was looking way too old. It was Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield, that's it.
And even Tobey Maguire looked way too old by the third. But, so they'll have to do something like give him a year off or skip a year or two, right?
I think,
at this point, they'll have to skip 5 years for the next movie. If the movie comes out in 2 years, give it like 3 years off or something.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to do, at least a jump in time, graduating senior, start the movie off with him graduating high school, And
then they can slow down again because there's only so much you can do before somebody in college looks like, well, basically like a standard CW show.
Exactly. So I think, though, going back to the Craven.
Did I go off on a tangent? I went off on a tangent tonight. Where's JD when you need him? Going
back to Craven, I think they can use the reveal of his secret identity as what motivates Craven to start hunt him down, and somehow they could tie that in, I think, and then.
But Craven wouldn't go after him at his house. Craven would go after him in the field, right?
Well, yeah, but he can use the information to help hunt him down,
Yeah, true.
So we'll see. Did you know, John, that the Russo brothers love you 3000?
Oh my gosh.
The Russo brothers are embarking on a We Love You 3000 tour to say thank you to all the fans who helped support Endgame and make it the huge success that it was. So I read that and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Maybe they'll come to like New York or Philly and we can go check it out. No,
it's the closest one to us is Miami. I think.
Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, Torrance, Miami, Minneapolis, Cleveland, and Anaheim. So yeah, they're not coming to New York or Philly. Bastards.
I feel like we've been, we've been given the finger somehow. It's like, if you're going to do that, I mean,
we love you 3000, except for you guys in the northeastern part of the United States.
Okay, yeah, we're East Coast elites. You wouldn't want to come here. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I don't know. I think you get too smarmy with that stuff. I know that they deserve it, considering what they've accomplished. So I'll allow it, but I don't know. It feels weird to me. I don't know.
Well, and it's funny how the article points out that they haven't beaten Avatar, right? But they're still thankful for everything the movie accomplished, and it's like, yeah, but they could still beat Avatar while they're on this tour. So
true. Let's hope they do. I just want Avatar down. That's all I care about. I don't care who does it at this point.
Avatar sucks.
What, the furries rule the box office? I don't get. I still don't see how Avatar got there. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's no John Wick. Oh
no.
And speaking of John Wick,
yeah, yeah, and this. I'm hoping this means that John Wick is coming into the Marvel Universe.
Writer Derek Coslin of the John Wick franchise is joining the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series as a writer. Well, it gives me hope for some really great action scenes in that series. I'm not sure if I want John Wick to join the MCU.
Why? It'd be too powerful. It'd be like Comics Explained, too powerful for the MCU. John Wick.
Well, then it ties Keanu Reeves' hands to not be able to play anyone else in the MCU.
Oh, I see. What were they looking at him for? Or what was
I don't know. I don't know if they were looking at him for anything in specific. He just
they were looking at him for the one above all, weren't they? I thought I'd heard that somewhere, that they were looking at him for the one above all.
I don't know. I know that he has actually said that they've approached him a few times for different roles, and he's turned them down every time.
Not enough guns? Make him the Punisher.
Yes. So it'll be interesting. You gotta, give me another reason to tune into Disney Plus when it comes out.
Well, the best thing about that would be a severe lack of jump cuts during the fight scenes. If they could do that, go back to old school, where, it doesn't take 5 cuts to throw a punch.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that's true. Jason Statham said that, like, kind of threw not video games, superhero movies under the bus by saying, "Oh, my grandmother could be in a superhero movie because it's all special effects and editing," and he was talking about how, like, the Fast and the Furious movies, there's a lot of real stunts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're going to do, something for the TV, which should feel more up close and personal, they probably are going to have real stunts in it.
Yeah. I mean, John Wick is kind of a gold standard now, but I think that movies in general have gotten way too far with the jump cuts.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I just, I wish I had a mind for statistics, because I just heard, I was zipping through a whole bunch of the pitch sessions from Screen Rant.
Yeah.
And one of them mentioned that one of these movies had, like, I don't know, 6,000 jump cuts or something crazy like that, and that's just ridiculous.
It was
probably one of the Taken movies, and all 6,000 was him going over a fence. But it is crazy. It's stupid. They need to go back to practical effects. Just drop some of the CGI, go back to practical effects. I'm sure these days you can do stuff that would even put Alien to shame. And, just get rid of the jump cuts.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No. And if we have a sudden ascension of a guild of assassins in the Falcon movie, we'll know what happened.
Guild of Assassins after Falcon. That would be good. All right. Let's look across the street now at DC. Only one DC story here.
No, look away.
For the week. And it's a comic related story. So they're coming out with a one-shot miniseries where not one issue, but like standalone stories called Tales from the Dark Multiverse. And the very first one is going to be Scott Snyder is going to be doing a take on Knightfall. So if we all remember Knightfall from the 90s, where Batman got his back broken by Bane, and he had to walk away from the cowl for a while, and Azrael took over, and in the comics, Azrael basically flew off the handle, became nuts, and that's what inspired Bruce Wayne to get healed, put the costume back on, and go stop him. So
it inspired him to get retconned, you mean?
In this iteration, in this story, Azrael never stops being Batman. Bruce Wayne doesn't get healed and doesn't go after, doesn't stop him. So, and then you're dealing with Batman's children. This is what it said in the synopsis. Going after Azrael and trying to stop him.
Bane's child rising up to find Azrael.
Oh, I thought it said Batman. I mean,
it's Bane. Well, they both begin with B, so I can understand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's my dyslexia. Oh, wait, that one didn't explain it. It's my...
Dave, you don't have you've got verbal dyslexia. The only words are switch.
So yeah, I mean, I think that could be an interesting story. It feels like, and that's the story they're starting off with. It feels like they're kind of doing a what if story, but they want to have a dark twist on all of them, because it works so well for the movies, What are they smoking over at DC that everything's got to be dark?
What were they smoking that they got to redo their greatest hits? Why aren't they coming up with new stuff?
Because that requires work.
It is different, therefore evil, and it must be destroyed.
Do you want people to have to work for a living? Come on now.
Well, yeah. Is that a trick question? I don't get it.
Damn it. Yeah. I guess I have to get a job then.
Probably.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, I mean, I'm probably going to check out this one. I like Knightfall. It's one of the stories. I have the whole collection from the 90s. And, I'll check it out. I remember that big, that special cover they had where it was a cutout of Batman on the front, and then you could flip just part of that panel, and it showed the Azrael costume underneath. I think it was Batman 500, if I remember correctly, that they did that.
Neat.
All right, and then so we could have some more news. I grabbed 2 more stories. This one has obviously gotten a lot of traction, as it were, on the internet. So you have Lashana Lynch, who was in the Captain Marvel movie. She was what was her character's name? She was Danvers' best friend, the other pilot.
I believe her name was Danvers' best friend. I'm sure that's what was in the.
No, come on, Rambeau. She was Monica Rambeau, and so she has been apparently. The rumor is she has been cast to play 007 in the next James Bond movie. So
yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
So apparently the story is because at the end of what was the last one?
Was it Skyfall? I don't even keep up. I don't keep up with 007 anymore.
Was it Skyfall? I thought there was one after Skyfall. Apparently he retired at the end of that one, right? So, yeah, Skyfall supposedly he retires at the end of it. So they've given his code number to another agent who has to, and then something happens where he gets called back in.
I would retire too if I were married to Rachel Weisz.
So yeah, that's an interesting concept.
Well, it's something they've been talking about for 3 decades now. Given all the actors that have played him, they've it's been a popular theory that it's that it's a designation.
No. 007's the designation. James Bond's is actually his name.
No. Well, yeah, but that the name itself was passed down.
No. Because even it's all. If you've watched all the Daniel Craig movies, that is all part of the character. Is him being James Bond. But anyway, because there's a tie-in to a Hif to a guy that was raised with him, who becomes Blofeld and his greatest enemy and blah blah blah. So it's just I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to me. I think that would make more sense if they made her 008 and, she's the successor. But trying to say she's taking his place just seems weird.
I don't know.
It's kind of like Azrael taking Batman's place. You know what I'm saying? In the moment, it seems like a good idea, but it never works out. Because you're gonna alienate the longtime fans of the franchise. And then, unless it's like the greatest Bond movie ever, it's probably not going to attract new fans. You know?
Well, it's 007. It's always going to... No matter what you do when they switch the actors, it's like switching the Doctor, right? There's always going to be a whole bunch. It's like, oh, that's it. I'm done. I'm never watching this again. Everything is crap now. And a lot of people are like, oh, this is the fresh face we needed. And then, most of them will switch back halfway through, like, the first or second movie. It's just the way of things.
Just the way of things. Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who had the same problems when they switched to having a woman play the lead. So,
well, that made sense because he's an alien, or the Doctor's an alien, so It doesn't matter. The person could have always regenerated into any body. Like that didn't. What doesn't make sense is that it took so long for it to become a woman.
True.
But this is more symbolic of taking Batman's cowl and putting it on somebody else and having that, and then have people stand behind them the same way they already stood behind Batman. It's like, no, you've got to earn being that character,
Sure. Okay. I mean, but like, how do they do that? Do they do an origin story? I mean,
that's why you have that's why you have her. See, but the whole thing is Daniel Craig wants to walk away, but you have your new character be like partnered with Bond for a movie or two, and do something where it's like, okay, this person makes sense to take over at this point.
Yeah, it's not really how movies work.
Well, it's how it should work.
They usually don't have 5 years of leeway before knowing that somebody's about to leave the franchise.
Well, then they should make it into a TV series so we can do that.
Oh, God. That would be worse.
All right. And our last bit of news, the Kingsman trailer dropped. Are you dying?
No, I'm not dying.
Oh, okay. Did you have a chance to watch the trailer, John?
For the Kingsman, yes.
Yes. So, I'm a big fan of the franchise. I really enjoyed the first two. This one appears to be a prequel to the current Kingsman series. Cause I thought this was going to be Kingsman 3. And after I saw the preview and read an article, it's like, no, this is actually just a separate movie within the same world. So, you kind of see how it gets started.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it kind of intriguing. You gonna, did you like the first two movies and would you go check this out?
I liked the first movie. I think the second movie was absolute trash, and I have no interest in the series anymore.
Why is it absolute trash? What was wrong with the Golden Circle?
It's just, there's only so much bathroom humor I can take. Only so many, pointless sex jokes that I can take for the point of being sex jokes and not actually being funny. Watching them get rid of like the only good woman character. They built her up like this, really good agent, and they just threw her away in the second movie. There's just so much. It's just I'll admit it's not my humor.
Okay.
So, but I didn't find it funny or interesting. The first one was interesting because it was new and it was a cool take, but it was kind of like The Matrix, I guess, or any first movie in a franchise. It's like they had people sitting there going, yeah, that's good. Don't put that in. Don't put this in. Don't put that in. And maybe you could tweak that a bit. Now it feels like, oh, Kingsman did great. Give the writers all of the leeway, and they went ahead and did whatever they felt like, and now it's just too much of not stuff that I am really interested in watching.
All right, if you say so.
Feel free to call me on it, guys. I just, I am freely admitting it is not my cup of tea. It's just I'm not I'm not interested in that series.
It had Elton John in it. I mean, come on, what more do you want in a movie?
Yeah.
You don't like Elton John.
No, I like Elton John. Damn it, stop it. Great, I hear the tweets already. No, I like Elton John.
John admits his hatred for Elton John. You've heard it first here, folks.
Yeah, I hate Elton John.
He reminds you too much of Hans Zimmer, isn't it?
Oh, what? What are you talking about? Gods. A baby slamming on one of those baby pianos, that's what reminds me of Zimmer.
All right. So, to round out the episode this week, boys and girls, we have a interview for you.
Like we said, it's a short one. Or could it be under an hour? Oh my God.
And yeah, so when we were at World Philly this year, we ran into some old friends who haven't been on the show in a long time. They were I think the 6th or 7th episode of the podcast.
I believe they said when we walked up to their table, "Are you guys still around?"
And that was actually at a Wizard World Philly. That was a strange one because I actually went to the hotel, where they were staying and recorded, the interview at the hotel. This was before we had equipment that we walked around with and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was way back when.
Yeah. And of course I'm talking about the guys from HB Comics, Alan and, Chris, Hebert. And
good friends of yours. I can tell by how you know their names right off the tip of your tongue.
It's Chris and Alan. I knew that. Come on. Give me that. HB Comics is, the brainchild of the two of them. It's basically, they started off with a comic called Laserman, and it's built from there. They have, Mystery Man and then, Team Synergy. They're really great all ages, comics that they do, and they're good, clean fun, and they've been doing this, for a good long time, at least as long as we've been podcasting.
Almost 6 years now, I guess, huh?
So, we caught up with them. They told us about, some of the things they've been doing, since we kind of last talked, and what their plans are for the future. So, without further ado, here are Chris and Alan.
He has done this before, I swear.
Yeah. You mean screw
300 times, I've heard.
Make sure all your mics are on. Testing.
Syphilis.
Syphilis.
All right, everyone.
Iago.
We are here at Wizard World Philly 2019, and we're with Chris and Alan Hebert. I got it right. 5 points for Gryffindor.
You're not Gryffindor. You're Ravenclaw.
The founders and brains behind HB Comics. How are you guys doing?
Great. How you doing?
We're doing good.
So you were on our, one of our first episodes, within the first 10. I keep saying episode 5, but it was somewhere in there.
Many moons ago.
So that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just Laserman back then, I think.
Yeah, and this is HB Comics. They have a lot of titles.
Vindication always slips under the radar.
Okay, so Vindication and Laserman. I think Vindication just started, maybe.
Yeah, we're probably within the first arc at that point. Yeah.
So what is new in the last 5 years?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, we now have 4 books on the shelves: Laserman, Vindication, Team Synergy, and Mystery Man. We have Foxglove and Legion of Justice that should be out next year, and a couple more titles that we haven't really announced yet in the wings beyond that. We have Landslide that'll be coming at some point. So we have a lot.
That's also, I'm going to point out, we have 9 issues of Laserman, 6 issues of Vindication, 4 issues of Team Synergy, and 2 issues of Mystery.
So one of the things that I admire about you guys is a lot of guys start an independent comic and maybe get to issue 3, and then they disappear off the face of the earth. You guys started an imprint, and you have 4 titles that are ongoing right now. What do you say to somebody who wants to start doing something like this, and what is the drive that keeps you guys going?
Oh gosh, starting it, I would say, patience. I feel like, and I don't want to generalize because I feel like that there are people who get this right, who do this exact thing and do it well and do it right. But I feel like I've seen also a lot implode trying to do this. I've seen a lot of people who try to start a comic book company and they start out with like an omnibus that has like 50 characters in it with character descriptions and powers. And I always want to say to those people, you can do it well. If you have it that well planned out, go for it. Good for you. But I've also seen a lot of people fail trying to do that. So come out with, make us care about a character before you introduce us to 59 other characters. It's about developing a character and a story around it. Don't be like, I want to be the next Marvel and hand me a thick book full of character descriptions and drawings because I'm just going to be like, you have no focus.
Right.
Huh.
Well, Marvel started with 4 characters.
Yeah. At once.
I think also a lot of, I think just about almost anybody who reads comic at one point probably thinks to themselves, oh, I'd love to do this for you. And they don't realize it's hard. There's a lot of work involved. A lot of money you need for it to happen. I think they think it's going to be simple. It's comic book.
Right.
They want to do the fun stuff. They want to do I get a lot of messages from people. I got to say, if you're an artist who's trying to submit to HB Comics, one of the worst things that you can do is be like, hey, do you need any covers done? Because unless you're like a top Marvel or DC name or an Image name or something, that would be incredibly valuable no matter how good your artwork is. The first thing I'm going to think if you just say, I want to do covers, is that you don't want to do the work of doing the inside.
Right.
So, it's, maybe you're just really good at that, and maybe, but I don't know. I just feel like I like to put to me, if you're doing the labor of doing the hard work, the inside work, you deserve the cover. And I'm not going to give that to someone else who comes along and messages me, who isn't doing as much, because I want to reward the people who are doing the hard stuff. So, I just think people a lot of times, they want to do what's easy. They want to do the real quick, I want to do a cover, I want to do a badass picture, but, they don't want to do 4 or 5 pages of 2 people talking, which might move the plot along and actually have some dramatic content.
So you guys are saying it's a lot of work, it takes patience and time to build it up.
Does independent wealth help, too, if you're independently wealthy?
That would probably make it very easy, although I'll tell you, I've seen people at the other end of that spectrum too. I've seen people who have a lot of money, so they sink a lot of money into it. They come up with 15 titles. 2 years later, 13 of them have been canceled.
Right.
It's just having that money and throwing it at, it isn't a guaranteed way to make it work. If you're really good at it, you can make a comic work with very little money in your pocket.
If you grab people's attention, like you said, with a character that's a good character that's built in.
Exactly.
That they like.
If you're not good at it, all the money in the world ain't going to help you.
Right.
That being said, if anyone wants to give us several $1 million, I assure you that we know how to do it. We know how to spend that.
Find them at hbcomics.com.
So then the other part of my question was, what has driven you guys to keep doing it for this long?
It's just that, we're comic book fans too. But I feel like we've gotten to the point that we enjoy it from another level here, too, because we enjoy creating and crafting these stories every bit as much as we enjoy, seeing the next Infinity War movie. We just really want to get these stories out there. I feel like that sounds cliche, but we want to get these stories out there. We have been developing this for, more than 20 years, actually. About 25, 26, more than that. I think 1992 is when I did the first panel on the original unreleased version of Laserman. So, we've been doing this for a long time, and we have so many characters that we haven't even mentioned in the books. Everyone comes up to us and they think, Laserman's arch enemy is Razorman because he appears in the first issue. But actually, he was just a throwaway punk that was easy for Laserman to beat. We're introducing Laserman's arch enemy finally in issue 10. which is coming out later in the year. And that's like, we've been sitting on that character for like more than a decade. So we have so many characters and arcs that haven't even been hinted yet in the book.
You got plans.
So we want to get those. We want to get to those points and start doing those.
So you were talking about having trouble with artists, and you now have you now changed the way you're doing the books so that you can get them out quicker.
Well, I wouldn't say that we're having trouble with artists. The artists that we work with, we're really, really good indie guys. But in some cases, we had some guys who were working out of their homes, in between jobs. They'd work 50, 60-hour shifts and then, come home and get a couple pages done if they could.
Right.
So the end result there was that, we'd have a book coming out, once every year, once every other year. The last Laserman, which is my responsibility to do, came out in 2015, I think, right? So that's 4 years without a new book. And that's me, and I'm, one of the owners of the company. So I feel like, myself included in this, a lot of the artists that we were working with, are guys who are indies and they have other jobs that they have to work. And, we weren't getting books out as frequently as we want to. The other thing is that a lot of our artists had their own projects. Rodney Jacobson does Swift Blades. It's, too much for him to keep up with running his printing company and coming out with Swift Blades and coming out with, here's another book which name escapes me at this moment. But also then working on Legion for us. It was just something he couldn't do. Our good friend Rick Lozano, who's awesome, has American Night, which is a great book that I worked on with him.
Okay.
And, it's hard enough to get one indie book established, but he's also trying to work on a Landslide in his spare time. He was the original artist that we had for Landslide. We have a new artist that we haven't announced yet. But it's the nature of the beast within indie comic promotion. And quite frankly, we got to the point where we want to take the next step forward, and the next step forward is going to have to involve having books come out consistently, which in some cases, the artists that we've worked with for a long time couldn't necessarily keep up with that because they have their own projects they want to get to, and then we were getting in the way of, or because they have day jobs that they have to do. So myself included, I'm one of the casualties. I'm no longer on Laserman. So.
Oh.
You had to make a decision to fire yourself.
Exactly. I had to let myself go. It was nothing personal. I assured myself.
Well, that's not what your brother said. So for the people listening at home, can you give us the elevator pitch of your books? So let's start with Laserman.
Sure. So Laserman is all about a comic book geek. He's an absolute fanboy, totally social, awkward computer nerd who, in a bizarre twist of fate and after a strange series of events, is involved in an accident which actually gifts him with real-life superpowers. So being a comic book geek, he's like, well, this is great. I've been a superhero, or I've been a comic book reader all my life. I know exactly how superheroes are supposed to act. And he basically goes out and is like, well, this is great. I know exactly what to do. And real world doesn't always work that way. So we kind of get to poke fun a little bit at the superhero genre because, that's how he sees the world. That's how he thinks it's supposed to be.
All right. And then you have Team Synergy.
Team Synergy is it's about 5 teenage girls. They're all cousins from different social walks of life. However, they all develop superpowers, and the reason that they do is because their great-grandmother is actually the original superhero. She was throwing Nazis through tanks in the 1940s. Yeah. Skipped a couple of generations, and superpowers have started to manifest in her great-grandchildren. So now she has gathered them together and is training them to be the next generation.
Cool. And then we have Vindication.
Vindication is it's a character-driven team book. It's set in our world in which the the public has really just found out that superheroes are actually real and have been for some time and have just been sort of the best kept secret. The world is naturally on the verge of panic. This is monumental news, and we're kind of seeing how the world is adapting to that through the lens of these very different heroes that are that were at the epicenter of the outbreak.
Cool. And then finally, Mystery Man.
Mystery Man is actually a spinoff of Laser Man. He's one of Alex's. Whoa! As the ceiling falls, he's sort of the one of Alexander's friends, Alexander's Laser Man's secret identity, and he is a very cynical college kid. He doesn't really get the whole superhero thing. He really doesn't believe in real heroes, and for reasons that nobody really knows, he falls backwards into some money one day, and as a surprise to everybody, he uses that fortune to become a superhero himself. So he doesn't really have a clear motivation for doing this. Nobody knows why he's doing this. He doesn't even seem to want to do it half the time. Huh. He seems almost like it's an inconvenience sometimes, and other times he seems completely gung-ho about it. So we really don't know what his deal is, but there's something just outside of frame that is sort of has a hand on his back and is pushing him to this. We don't know what that is yet, but that's why it's called Mystery Man.
Cool. So people listening home, you can tell by that catalog, these are definitely fans of the superhero genre. It's not just, I'm going to write a comic and it's about werewolves or vampires. This is what we get a lot when people do indie books.
And there's a lot. This is all the same shared world, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people that we interview, a lot of the comic book creators, they've got a single comic or a single book. You guys are one of the few that I know that like have this whole shared world already and a whole bunch of titles.
Oh yeah, well, like I kind of alluded to earlier, sometimes someone will come out and they'll have the idea for a world, but not a comic book, and they'll publish they'll try to publish more than one book, and without establishing them, they don't have the drive behind them to keep that many balls in the air. We had to build to this, other times you get people who try to create shared universes of indie characters. But the problem is, if one guy creates a Superman and then another guy creates his Superman, now you have a universe with some Superman. And, the nice thing about this is because the three of us, me, Alan, and Kenny, worked together to make this universe, we were kind of, looking at each other's notes and working with each other to create heroes that fit. So all of these titles sort of hit different notes and tones. They don't really overlap a lot except when they're supposed to. And it's not like, we have 5 guys who are all like Batman or 6 guys that are exactly like Superman.
That'd be a lot of lawsuits from DC.
And yet, so many indies that I've seen. And, again, if you want to make a guy who's like Superman because you're inspired by him, that's great. And we have a character who has some of those elements as well. But the point is that, if that was our one character and then we went to another creator and tried to partner with them, but they had their character that was, sometimes you get a sort of an overlap and clash because everyone wants their main hero, if that makes sense. And
so
we built it so that they supported each other.
Since we are here at Wizard World Philly, and you guys have been coming here for a long time, but you're not from the area. You're from Boston. So,
He's going to get mad at me for distracting them so much, isn't he?
It's okay. We're used to.
What brings you back to Philly every year?
Oh gosh, well it's you, Dave. Frankly.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. When we started this, Boston Comic Con up in our neck of the woods wasn't really established yet. There were a couple of small cons like the Monkey House promotion, things like that. There were. The big games in town were New York Comic Con. Wizard had 4 cons at that point. There was a Texas, Philadelphia, Chicago, and I think LA or something like that. And the closest one to us geographically was Philadelphia. So we wanted to kind of hit the scene in a big way. We wanted to premiere at a bigger con. And Philadelphia was, a fun car trip that we could take, set up, and have the biggest audience possible.
Yep.
The fact that we did so well in Philadelphia and that it was close enough to drive to, the fact that, every year we came back and we established a bit of a fan base down here so that we still to this day get people who come by and the new issue, I don't have that yet. just makes it so that this is kind of going to be a place that we're always rooted as long as they're running them.
Cool. And what do you think of the show this year?
We had a really, really good Thursday, which is weird because it's sort of that preview show that everybody sort of walks around just to see what they're going to buy. We had a pretty decent day yesterday, and it's a really good sign for the rest of the weekend.
Cool.
That's great.
All right, so now I'll give you the question we normally wrap up on. And I know I asked you this 5 years ago, but I'm going to ask you again.
He's forgotten
It might have changed in 5 years, to be fair.
How do you measure success?
I measure success with some kind of measuring implement. Usually we made Moneyometer. No, I'm kidding. The fact that we have people coming back and looking for the books, to me, is the best marker. We're really trying to expand out and also become sort of more efficient. You want to be like the creator guy and be like, we want to tell enriching stories. But at the same time, in order to do this, we have to make money at it. No one wants to say that because no one wants to think of it as a business. But, I mean, it is. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to start kind of stretching out and making a little bit more money. So we're going to be doing things like we're going to be switching to newsprint for our single issues, which is going to actually bring down the price by $1 per issue for the for buying them. So they're not going to be $4, they're going to be $3. And we got the new artists that we're getting. We are we hired a bunch of new guys. We're paying higher rates than we used to pay because we wanted to attract talent that does this for a living, so that we can get more consistent books out of them, because these people that we hired, that's all they do. And that's really it. We're just trying to attract more attention, get better books out there, get them out a little bit cheaper if we can, so that we can make more money to do more shows, bring it further away from the Boston area. And I guess the success will be is if 5 years we're sitting down and doing another interview.
How about you, Alan? You've been so talkative.
I know.
About as talkative as that.
I'm sure he'll kick my ass for this later.
Don't have the visual. It's also because I've been running the booth as well. Success is being able to keep it moving forward. Bringing down the costs less and less, and eventually make a profit. And we have slowly been heading towards that area. I mean, it's again, everybody thinks it's easy and fun, and it's a lot of work to do this. It's a lot of time to do it.
Right.
And that's why you only see somebody get 1, 2, 3 issues out.
I noticed
you need to have the drive. Me and Chris, we have the drive.
Yeah.
One of us falters, the other sort of picks up the other one.
True story. True dad.
But I noticed neither of you said, as long as you keep getting to work with your brother, that's all you need.
It's strange because with me stepping off of Laserman, I'm working with him somehow less, and yet now somehow more. We've decided that we're going to work on all, like, previously it's like Alan writes Laserman, I write Vindication, I write Foxglove, he writes Team Synergy. We've decided what we're going to do now that I no longer have art duties on Laserman. I have a little bit more time that I can devote to other areas of the business. One of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be working as a writing team on those 4 books. So instead of saying, Laserman written by Alan Hebert, Laserman written by the Hebert brothers and Chris and Alan, same thing with Vindication, Foxglove, Team Synergy, we've already sort of done like that. So ironically, we're going to be working closer together, but yet I'm also working less with him, which is a strange combination. I also do want to mention that, with me leaving Laserman, we just announced our new artist who's taking over, Eduardo Garcia, who is an amazing artist who's worked for, I know he's done some stuff online for Marvel. He's also done Scooby-Doo for DC Comics.
Yeah.
And I believe Princess Ninjas for Zenoscope, and a few others. I know he's worked on Grim Fairy Tales and Cinderella, and he's done some work for Red Hood. So, yeah, he's a great, really professional artist who has a lot of already work in the business. He knows how to get stuff done, and I love his take on Laserman. It really feels very much like I want him to look. So it's really refreshing to like have an artist taking over this that I've done for 11 years now. It feels good to be able to step away from that and know that the artist who's working on it is gonna get the pages done a lot faster than even I was.
All right, and then the most important question: where can people find you online, and where can they get the books?
You can go to hbcomics.com, HB standing for Hebert Brothers, of course. You can buy the books directly there, and you can also go to our Facebook page, which is HB Comics.
All right.
And we have a Facebook group, HB Comics on Facebook.
Yeah, HB Comics on Facebook. Do the search for that group and follow that, because the way that the Facebook the algorithms are not friendly to businesses. So it's just better to join the group, and sometimes we'll post exclusive stuff there. So, yeah, those are the best ways.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think that was a good little interview there.
It's nice to know that they're stepping up their game, because I like some of their work, right? Yeah. So, now they're getting all these new artists in and setting up a real good schedule. It's going to be really cool to see how they do in the future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely keep up with them. I know they'll be back to Philly next year. Hopefully, if Wizard's still around. Oh, yeah, they will be around next year.
Yeah, next year, as far as we know right now.
Yes. And maybe one day we'll head up to Boston. We'll park a car in the yard. Sorry, I have family from Massachusetts.
You should be sorry.
But yeah, so do you have anything else you'd like to add for the fine folks this week, John?
Yeah, I've got nothing. It's a desert out there right now. Yeah. I don't know. Do we still have more interviews to release?
Oh, geez, I forgot. Big announcement.
Yeah.
For those who pay attention to our website, which doesn't include John,
we have a website? Sorry, I'm contractually obligated to say that. Go ahead.
We have a new section. We're calling it the interview series, where we're taking interviews, taking interviews that we've recorded at
any of the cons.
At any of the cons. Basically just putting an image on it and then turning it into a video. So it's not only is it on our YouTube, but you can watch it through our website as well. And we currently have 5 interviews up. So these are ones that we've already released, and there's one in there that we haven't released yet. So we've got Christopher Priest. What's his name?
Aubrey Sitterson.
No, the guy who played Batman.
Oh my God! Why did you chase that out of my head?
Kevin Conroy. So far we have got the Kevin Conroy interview up there.
Dude, what did you?
Why don't I go to the website and then
Did you forget your meds?
Yes, Christopher Priest, Kevin Conroy. Then we also have, there's the old Kaylin Smith. The first time we interviewed Kaylin Smith, I put that one in this. And, from New York Comic Con, we had Tara Strong. So these are all previously released. However, in the middle, we have the author Dan, interview, which has not been released on any episode yet.
And we have literally hundreds of interviews that we could add to there. And I've actually got never released video from some of it from last New York Comic Con of our roundtables with, with the guys from Batman and specifically Tara Strong. So in video.
Yes.
So I'm sure you'll all tune into that.
Don't release that stuff of you in your underwear though, because people don't want to see that.
Thanks for telling him that, Dave.
So you can check it out on our website. It's on the section called Interview Series. We're also, you go to our YouTube channel, and there's a playlist that only contains these interviews. So go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and at least one interview a week will be released on this channel going forward. So keep an eye out.
We could do that. We could do that without taking any more interviews for like the next, about 3 years, I think.
Probably. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, people. A lot of great things will be popping up on that soon. So on that note, as always, thanks for listening, and don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.